Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling a really big question, one that hangs heavy in the air, quite literally for millions. Is Delhi's air pollution problem actually solvable?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those complexity challenges. The sources we looked at make it clear pretty quickly that a straight yes or no, almost impossible.
Why is that?
Well, you're dealing with this huge mix of emission sources, right? Then throw in seasonal factors, shifting winds, and maybe the toughest part, these multi-jurisdictional governance hurdles. It just tangles everything up.
Okay, so a complex picture. We're going to try and untangle it a bit by looking at solvability across, say, 4 dimensions. The social angle, the technical fixes, institutional capacity, and the data we have.
Sounds like a plan.
Can we actually fix the air, technologically speaking?
Technically, absolutely, yes. I mean, history gives us clear precedents. Think about London back in the day. Or Los Angeles.
Yeah.
They were choking on smog, really bad stuff. Industrial vehicle emissions, they turned it around.
Okay, historical examples.
Yeah.
But anything more recent may be more comparable.
For sure. The big one is Beijing. The data shows they slashed major air pollution levels by, 30, even 40%? And they did it in just about 10 years.
30 to 40% in a decade. Wow. That really flies in the face of the narrative that this is just an intractable problem.
It does.
But hang on, if Beijing could do it, why aren't we seeing similar results in Delhi? I mean, we hear about smog towers, road purifiers, water sprinklers. Are those just gimmicks then?
Yeah, basically gimmicks. Beijing's success story, it came with none of that. No smog towers, no purifiers on the street corners.
So what do they do?
It's a surprisingly simple list, technically speaking, but it needs real commitment. Things like, 1, aggressively pushing public transport, walking, cycling infrastructure, make it the easy choice. 2, ruthlessly ensuring near zero emissions from industries, like really enforcing it. 3, a massive push for clean cooking and heating options for everyone. And finally, taking care of waste management, every single kilo of it properly, no burning.
Right, so technically straightforward, if not easy to implement.
Yeah.
But what about the people side? The social dimension, there seems to be awareness, right? People protest, there are vigils, everyone knows the air is bad.
Yeah, the awareness is definitely high. That social will seems strong on the surface. But the sources point to this critical disconnect.
Disconnect, how so?
There's this anecdote, I think it was from IIT Delhi. Someone observed a worker sweeping up dry leaves, doing their job, but then setting the pile on fire. Right there.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. It shows this gap, right, between just performing a task and having that deeper environmental awareness of the impact. We need much more ground-level education, behavior change stuff.
So, okay, the tech exists. The public wants cleaner air, even if there are behavioral gaps. That points towards the institutions, the governance structures. That where the blockage is. We have bodies like the TAQM now.
Right, the Commission for Air Quality Management. So, institutionally, the intent seems to be there, on paper at least, but the process gets bogged down. It suffers from what you might call analysis paralysis.
Meaning?
Meaning institutions seem to spend a lot of time trying to pinpoint current responsibility, who to blame right now, instead of just mandating the permanent solutions we already know about.
So less talk, more action needed.
Essentially, yeah. It needs real regulatory courage, moving past just the temporary Band-Aids.
You mean things like the JRP measures, the graded response action plan, closing schools, work-from-home mandates when things get really bad?
Exactly. Those are emergency responses based on the last 48 hours of pollution. They're reactive, not preventative structural reforms. The focus has to shift to permanent changes targeting all the polluters all year round.
And this ties into the data situation, right? Do we actually need more data, or do we know enough?
That's the thing. We know the main culprits. Vehicles, industry emissions, household heating and cooking, waste burning. It's pretty well established. We don't necessarily need tons of new data points. We need action on the existing data.
Okay, so act on what we know.
But there's a catch, a warning in the sources. Be really wary of data that looks good because of those quick fixes.
Like the water sprinklers washing dust out of the air temporarily?
Precisely. That might give you a nice-looking graph, a good headline in November or December, but it's just masking the root cause. It hasn't actually reduced the emissions being pumped out in the first place. We can't let those short-term data blips distract us.
So, wrapping this up then, for you, the listener, what's the main takeaway? It sounds like the core message is, well, it's not about the how, technically.
Not really, no. The technical fixes are there, they're proven, they're replicable. The real bottleneck seems to be institutional and maybe social political will. mobilizing everyone to demand and, crucially, enact those known solutions.
Right. It's about the commitment to actually doing it.
And one final thought connecting to the cost. People always ask, can we afford it? The sources suggest that if the real conviction, the political and social will, is truly there to implement all these known solutions, the transport changes, the industrial clamps, clean energy for homes, then the money follows. It might sound strange coming from someone who's not an economist, but that's the strong suggestion.
So the final thought for you to chew on. Maybe solving Delhi's air pollution isn't so much about invention anymore, it's about conviction.